Yeah, because I totally look like that. Let me see.
Hey, I can start the insults now because nobody's watching.
Technically, that's true. We've been live for 13 seconds and there are no viewers. But this is a full shit talk episode, so.
Hey, people are
That's what
doing
we do.
away.
All right.
Oh, yes. Okay. Thank God it is. It worked. It worked. Hot shit. I didn't screw anything up. We are live on the Eagle Defense Facebook. I didn't screw that up, so that's good. No, not now.
That's
I don't
awesome.
want to join yet. Scroll down into the chat.
All right.
One window, looking at chat. Yeah, no one's watching. No one gives a shit about any of this, so I really don't care.
That's hurtful.
Are we truly adults now?
No.
This is...
That's the negative.
Bro, we're talking about
Listen.
using airsoft guns as a professional training. Get the fuck out of here with your adultiness.
you gotta be an adult now. You gotta wisen up. Now we're gonna start talking about how to implement actual rifles.
We're gonna use like fancy adult words. Most of their bullshit.
My vocabulary is growing by the second.
Isn't it though?
Feel it. University of Phoenix all the way.
Oh yeah, there you go. Online.
Check this.
Hey, I guess everything's online now, so you can't really compare.
Hell
Yeah,
no.
man. 6 feet away. 6 feet away.
It's live on here. I'm hoping the sound works, so I didn't completely dick this up.
I hear you good.
Yeah, well, we're gonna hear. Oh,
I hear you good.
yes. Yeah. Okay, good. So the Twitch stream is good.
Okay.
Make sure I haven't done any of this. And we could do. I'm gonna try something crazy. Take this out. Put this in. Do a 5. We're doing a 5-minute countdown. Yes.
Are we going with like the 5-minute countdown? I'm thinking like.
Yo, look at the stream. So I don't know if anyone. I'm pretty sure no one can hear us right now. No, because I turned off the Google Hangout. Maybe they can hear us. I don't really care. Probably can hear us. Actually, I know exactly how to check this. Well, this also gives people a chance to kind of join. Okay, good. They can still hear us. Yeah. So this is just a 5-minute countdown to let people know that they've got about 4.5 minutes before we start just going off the fucking rails.
Well, you would think. I mean, everybody's at home. They tune in. But when you say something like 5 minutes, I'm thinking like, speed. Do I have to drive a bus really fast? What's going on with this 5 minutes? What's going to happen? Is it going to self-destruct? You got to be a little bit more specific on this.
Live. That's a word. Dude, my
I'm
laptop
looking
is
at the
still
Facebook.
warm.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Facebook page right now, and I'm seeing this whole 4:05 countdown. Okay, gotcha.
/caper up. Try and grow 2 things at once. I thought about trying to do this on. So I'm using. Have you used Streamlab OBS, Garrett?
What's that?
Have you used Streamlab OBS?
No, I have not.
So its multi-stream capabilities allows you to. It's built in for 2 programs. I wanted to do 3 so I could also put this on my Airsoft YouTube so I could grow the public hours and the monetization on that.
Gotcha.
But I just settled with the Twitch. Oh God. And the obviously the company thing.
Remember, you're usually the face. I usually am totally against going live and having my face anywhere.
And
You
that.
mentioned me in videos, and that's it. I'm like the reclusive guy.
I think Tom has intentionally muted us because he's walking around his house. I'm looking like it looks like a nod. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Thank God he knows how to use technology. Hot damn.
Yeah, so I got kids running around screaming, so I'm gonna try to mitigate the process here.
Hot damn.
See, the good news is my kids are 17, 19, and 16. They don't care about me anymore.
Oh jeez. Yeah, they still care about me now, and it's like it's always the balance, right? Like you want your alone time, you want to be able to hang out, by yourself or get on a podcast, and then then you're like, man, I really do want my kids around. It's hot and cold. It's one or the other.
How's the apocalypse Cheez-It stash, Tom?
Oh, the Cheez-It stash, we got it aplenty. We got everything, man. We got everything here.
This man has an abundance of Cheez-Its and 223. So
That's
all you
Tom's
need.
place is the rally point.
5.56, 2.23. We got a little bit of everything over here, but
Let's not talk about ammo. I'm already heartbroken. I mean, we had this thing go through.
Can you still buy shit
That's all
online?
No, that's the problem.
They counter the state court slap the district court, or is it the other way around?
Basically, the AG,
Yeah.
USARA, decided when this went through, he did the exact same thing he did with Freedom Week with the magazines.
Yeah.
Right? It's just he did it at a quicker pace. So instead of waiting for that whole week, he didn't wait more than 20 hours. And when he's doing all this stuff he's supposed to be doing with COVID and helping out, he put all his attention on this. And he got the stay and granted the stay. So all the people like myself and probably hundreds and millions of other Californians decided to buy ammo online. If it didn't ship out, and you didn't get a tracking number, they're just going to give you a refund.
Hilarious.
So I bought my wife's asleep, so I can say this. I bought around $2,000 for the ammo. And I think I'm getting maybe about $120 of it.
Fucking struggle is real.
I didn't even need it, but I just wanted to buy it online because I haven't done it in so long. It's one of those things.
When you say you're gonna shoot it, let's be clear. That ammo will be shot.
Yes.
But it's one of those supply and demands. Like, do I need this now? No. Will I need this? Yes. So it is a need. The only question is, in what time frame does it become a need?
Yeah, pretty much. We always had that plan back in the days of the graveyard shifts, man.
Where did I put the?
Long live Graveyard Tactical, which is the first name.
Not a lot of Tom does not recall the Graveyard Tactical days, does he?
I don't think so.
Those were wonderful. Tom, you should have been there.
So that was actually the first company I started up. Here's the document. It was the first training company that I started was called Graveyard Tactical because that was around when
2005.
Yeah, but what's that damn zombie show? Walking Dead. So when Walking Dead came out, dude, like everyone was just zombie everything. That's when Critical Defense had zombie rounds, all this shit. So so instead of let me adjust this. So instead of like self-defense, I did zombie defense. Because my reasoning was I'm not teaching people to shoot other people. I'm teaching people self-defense with firearms against zombies, and zombies are actually not covered in penal code, so you can kind of do whatever you want to them. It just so happens that you could use those tactics in a similar situation if a human poses a threat.
Yeah, I think the funny thing about that, if you remember, is that when we started doing that, I was doing it out in Bakersfield when I was out there in Central California, and you were down here in Northern California. And that's where I hooked up with Aaron Malden from Desert, Zombie Eradication Response Team, and he was doing the zombie thing in Vegas, so we had a lot to talk about. Fun stuff, man. Those are the days of having the targets on wheels, and we were pulling the strings of people.
I have to find those videos. What's up, Tom?
You just got to think about the market niche with zombies. Just going back to like how you were saying, like that was your initial start for your business. So you think about it like, everything like throughout generations, we always have like a niche in the market. Everybody reaches out and tries to grab something that the younger youth or like, people are actually buying into.
Dude, it worked.
And you can monetize on anything. And it worked. Yeah. Like you said, zombies, and you can just sell that in any aspect. You can slap it on beer. You can slap it on anything and just be like, hey, this is zombie, like apocalypse stuff. And that's where people still hitting on for the last, like what? When did you start that? Like 10 years ago? 15 years ago? Yeah, so.
Because I remember.
It's wild.
Now it's the same way with like tactical sunglasses. Ooh, these sunglasses are tactical. Like, what does that mean? Like, this guy had khaki 511s wear them. Like, get out of here.
Yeah, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
That's the market, though. If you think about it, most of the guys that are in the law enforcement security world, especially security, those are the guys that can be like, what tactical sunglasses do I need, and does this match my tactical thong? So it's like they're killing it. So we're getting a couple people in here.
Tom,
Johnny, what's up? Johnny was if you remember, James, worked for a company out where we used to do gun cards for. Good guy. How you doing?
I see him in?
Crap! What Edwin Rivera is a truck driver who's definitely. Good guy. I'm glad you got in, Edwin. Thanks for coming in. Edwin is an avid Airsoft guy, so James, he'll probably ask you questions. And He's pretty much the pro status of Airsoft. We used to talk about it all the time. He's one of the guys that got me into Airsoft.
Hey, Tom, guess who's in the Twitch chat right now?
No, who's in the Twitch?
Who is this?
I don't know, Sargento. Yo no
Galvin,
sé.
Ah!
welcome.
Marbalito, ¿cómo estás? Mira, mira.
Is that poor guy you were harassing at that one class?
Oh,
where
you got.
we were-
Oh, yeah.
Class,
Then I started yelling at him in
ever.
Spanish. Yeah, I was
Oh,
yelling at him
yeah.
in Spanish for a stress course to get him to do his malfunctions and stuff. Just
Yes.
losing my mind. It was so much
You
fun.
realize, yeah, me and him were both making fun of you because one, I mean, that was not a bad accent for somebody if you're
White as shit.
whiteness. So I was like, okay, looks could be deceiving. So yeah,
Talk
but-
about a trooper, though, man. He stayed with us, for years now. So Galvin, heads up to you, like,
Dude, he is
congrats.
OG 270th.
He is OG 270th, one of the few, and he stayed true this whole time. So
I don't know
I
why.
had to leave for a while. I came back, but I don't know why I came back, but
Lost a bet. Fuck.
I lost a bet. Yeah, you could say that.
you
can say
wanted
that.
money. I mean, that was kind of
Yeah.
my thing.
Yeah, no, I guess, definitely the money is always an aspect of where your career choices go, and like it's almost destiny too. Like it just really depends on how you think about it, and I think I was always destined to be coming back and like staying with the MPs, and I've had ambitions of leaving, but everything I've done
They pull you
in my
back.
career pushed me right back where I started. So
Hey, we've got the 6 opening. Oh, cool. Where? The 270th.
270th.
All right. All right. All
I'll
right.
take it. Sold.
Sign from God that I'm stuck
Don't-
here.
Oh, it's funny too. Like we were just talking the other day, just about like just careers growing up. So like obviously, I don't think Jimmy, you or anybody here, Garrett even, like growing up and like going to school wasn't like my thing. Like I never wanted to just stay in school or go to college and like have ambitions of doing any of these great things. And I feel like the military was there just because of the time we grew up during 9/11. But so here I am. I didn't put like that much effort into school, and I have a great career now. I have beautiful family and just everything I've done. And it's funny because then like people that have harassed me or talked shit to me growing up, like, oh, you're a dumbass, you didn't go to college and all these things, they're out of jobs now. It's definitely it's a weird time to live. It's definitely a weird time to be here, but man, you can't beat the military career. Like that's what I just harp on right now. You can't beat it.
Put up with the
You can't.
bullshit, which you
If you can
apparently
put up
are
with
thriving in right now.
I always thrive in bullshit, man. But who doesn't? Who doesn't?
Hey, adapt and overcome because it's always going to be Bohica. That's just going to happen.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, I could definitely relate. I mean, I'm older than both of you guys, unfortunately. But
Manny, it's probably going to be on you because my stream's looking pretty good. Go for it, Garrett.
no, it's just basically back to what Tom said. I can definitely relate to it. It's like my family, they went that military law enforcement route, so I knew kind of where I was going to go. And with that being said, it is kind of funny because I got the same thing. Well, why don't you go to college? Why don't you be a techie? And why don't you do this and that? And it's like, okay,
Fuck math.
well, what else am I going to do besides this? And the thing is, right now, all the guys now, unfortunately, have to stay home, and these rich techies are paying me to protect them. So
There you go.
it is that.
There's always a balance. Everybody always needs each other, right? So
Right.
yeah, at the end of the day, who's on top?
So this will be a good segue into, I guess, the hey, how's it going, and welcome for this. I'm just going to call it the first episode of something I've been trying to do for a while called Armed and Intelligent. I don't know if this will be a real thing, but tell me that doesn't sound on point. Armed and Intelligent.
How about armed and reasonably intelligent?
Armed and intelligent.
Moderately intelligent.
We'll have an asterisk at the end of the intelligent.
There you go. I'm fine with that.
So I have no idea how fast this is going to fucking roll off the rails. Hopefully I'll get to be able to archive this and post it up for later use. I'll start with an intro for anyone that has no idea who the hell I am, which is probably going to be a lot of people in the future. Welcome. Hello. I'm hosting this shit show of a long ship. I'm James. Instagram, it's ASM_Caber, CABAR. There's going to be 2 demographics that are going to be watching this live. The first demographic is going to be the kids that know me as Caber. That's the Airsoft world. I'll kind of go into that little background in a second. Then there's the other guys that know me as James or Jimmy, which is going to be from the actual shooting, or as the Airsoft kids like to call it, the real steel world. We just call it fucking gun world. God, what have I done with my life? Jesus. Army.
We all did.
Army from 2003 when I entered. First unit was 4th Platoon, Bravo Troop, 110 Cav, when it was still under the Aviation Brigade for 4th Infantry. I was for all the hip kids out there, I was a 19 kilo, which is a Abrams tank crew member, specifically because I was the young idiot. I was the grunt, so I was the loader. First position, the lowest entry position on a tank is always the loader. Tail end of the 4th Infantry Division's 1st OIF 1 or 2 push, I can't remember. After that, went up to G3 operations as an ops assistant for the second, because I loved it so much the first time. However, my current ex-wife didn't love that one. Anyway, the second tour as an ops assistant, and did some PSD gunner work as well for Colonel Kievanar, who was the 3-shop OIC at the time. The fuck else have I done? After that, got out, divorced the Army, and my ex-wife divorced me, so then there's that. Met Garrett as a critical infrastructures officer with Securitas, doing a fun, stupid government contract where I watched the whole series. Remember that when I was on the 24 kick? Work nights,
Yeah.
did armed security for a government subcontract for, Jesus, how long did we do that? 3 years?
3-4 years.
Goosh. Quit that. Well, didn't quit that. Got bored, missed the Army, joined the California Army National Guard under the 270th MP Company, which is where I met Tom, because I was actually Tom's first experience of what the National Guard was.
Oh, God.
You can fucking imagine
What an
that.
experience.
We'll go over that in a second. So did the Guard thing until 2016, got out of the National Guard as a staff sergeant, and the last thing Tom and I did together was Gitmo. We were the external security force. I was one of the platoon sergeants for the external security force at the JDG Gitmo at Guantanamo Bay. Thank God we did not have to go into those dreaded camps. Jesus, I'm good off that. Dude, that was horrible. Would never do that again. Anyway.
Best deployment I've ever been on.
Greatest job, best job I ever had.
It's hot and cold here. People love it, people hate it. You can't really tell.
And then did 8 years. What is this? Is this text important? Nope. Did 8 years as a federal law enforcement officer with a DoD sub-agency in Tracy called the Defense Logistics Agency. God, how many instructor certs did I have there? I was the agency handcuffing instructor under ASP, agency baton instructor under ASP, agency pepper spray instructor under Sabre, which is a great company, by the way, great products. And California Post certified in active shooter response, and I was one of like three or four active shooter instructors there. In the civilian world, I had a bunch of NRA like basic instructor certs. Bro, those things haven't been active in years. I don't use them shits anymore. But what I was using was my NRA law enforcement handgun instructor certificate that I got, which then enabled me to be what am I now? BSI's firearms instructor. So currently I teach in California CCW classes. Yes, we do have concealed carry in California, and there are certain counties where if you apply, you basically get them. If you're in SoCal, you ain't getting it. If you're in the Bay Area, it's no cone's chance in hell. If you're in NorCal or Central California, pretty good. So I've been teaching, and I've been doing specifically armed security guard training and certification for, bro, I think we've been doing this for like 12 years, 10 years, some wild crap like that. Anyway, on the airsoft side of the house, the assistant manager for a volunteer field called the Airsoft Ministry, which is the same way on Instagram and Facebook, which is based in Roseville, California, which is about 15 or 20 minutes north of Sacramento. Huge in, well, I'm not going to, okay, I'm just going to say it. I'm huge in the airsoft world. I'm a big deal. And I also, more on the professional side of things, I work with a company with a company, not for a company. I'm going to just put that out right now. It's a partnership. I'm a KWA law enforcement ambassador. KWA is probably, I'll say it's one of the top 3 biggest gun manufacturers for airsoft worldwide. For sure, top 5, realistically, top 3 in the world. And I am kind of their liaison. So I'm like a consultant, basically. So I'm not an employee of KWA, which is why I get to say whatever the hell I want. But I do basically like consulting work and a bunch of other stuff on the recreational side. I've done React videos, do a lot of stuff on the marketing side of the house with KWA. So if you're like, I wonder who I should listen to about using airsoft guns for like actual firearms training. Hi, I'm a giant ass nerd, and that's literally what I've been basically doing with my entire life. Plus the competitive shooting I did. 4th place 2015. Jesus, what year did I take 4th in the state? I think it was like 2012 or 2014. I took 4th place in service pistol in the state of California. M9 pistol, 30 yards from the holster. Come get it. And then basically always top 10. I almost always placed, with the exception of the first time, placed top 10 in the state for service pistol. And the only guys I was losing to was like the head snipers and all that other stuff, and like SWAT guys and all that other crap. That's enough of stroking my own pecker. So now we're going to click on Garrett. Garrett, if you would please give your introduction. I understand you have let's do some notes. You have a law enforcement, contracting, and security background. If you'd like to educate the fine folks at home on that and why we hated college in our 20s.
Well, for the most part, yeah. So basically, went ahead and got into the law enforcement world at a pretty young age. Was doing that. Ended up going into, I think we did at the same time. Quote me on that. But you were doing the NRA police instructor course while I was doing the department post instructor course. I think we're on the reins the same day, if I remember.
Yes.
So
that was a bromance from a distance.
Yes. Well, we had a bromance in 2005 when we started off that security place. Only guys that were working graveyard were watching zombie movies and technically like guns, which is kind of funny if you're
Graveyard Techno was born.
There you go, right? Hanging out with a bunch of guys that were carrying guns but didn't really want to do anything with it except put it on their hip and do nothing. So yeah, that's how that worked. Met you before that. I think that was pre-2005. Before that, did 2 stints in Afghanistan, 2 stints in Iraq, and 1 stint in Kosovo.
What company were you with?
Can't really disclose. It's not the super secret, crazy Blackwater. Wasn't that cool for Blackwater. But basically, it was first term was being an instructor for Kosovo, so we were doing that, and then I went down and had to teach the Iraqi police how to be police, which was hilarious. Did that for a while. Yeah, did that for a while. Did the security world, did the law enforcement world. I think that's pretty much it. Don't need to go into too many details about that.
What else did you have other than your post-firearms instructor?
Went through the post-fire instructor, like you named. We both have our BSIS, so we started the Eagle Defense Company. So we do that. We, what else? Well, as far as certs, BSIS, post-firearms instructor, defensive tactics instructor. It's just you sit in the class for so long and you collect
here's a piece of paper.
All the above stuff.
Go ignore everything we've taught you so you could go do your own thing with your agency. Piss off.
Pretty much. We
got our state funds, so you could fuck off, whatever.
Right. So do the Eagle Defense thing with James, and I do the GLNL security training with myself and my wife, who are we're both firearms instructors on that defensive tactics instructors, like I mentioned. I am also involved with an executive protection company dealing with high net clients, and for that company, I am their firearms instructor and their defensive tactics instructor when they need me. So,
are you able to disclose your clients, or are we just going to say they're big deals in the, let's say, the pop culture world?
We could say pop culture, social media, and
tech world.
Tech world, and people that just want to do stuff like this and put themselves in front of a camera, and they get a lot of money, and we don't. I don't understand that.
But most of your contracts are based, or your clients are based in the California Bay Area.
For the most part, yes. So you're dealing with the areas. San Francisco's a big one, Santa Clara County, Southern California. So,
And
that's
anyone
all
that's
I can
familiar with the California, kind of the, I guess the geography, understands that almost every big business in the tech world is in the Bay Area. And even some production companies are in the Bay Area too. Some big production areas and actors and stuff like that.
Yes, yes.
So it's
Definitely
not just
in
like
Southern
some
California.
random schmuck. Like these are people with influence on pop culture world
Yes, for sure.
and the technology world as well, which are
Right.
kind of the same. I don't know, whatever.
I know they make more money than we're ever going to make, and
Yeah, but they have to think. You kind of really don't have to as much,
not really. I just got to make sure that our students don't shoot each other in the face, and we're
which is
pretty good.
not as easy as some people think.
I had a joke. I think I told you about it, and pretty much everybody that's ever taken a class of mine, I've had more guns pulled out on me being an instructor than I ever have
Oh, for
being
sure.
overseas, being a law enforcement officer, doing
A
anything.
range is the most dangerous place in the world.
Oh my God! The worst thing you can ever hear on the range is that click when you should have heard a bang, and that bang when you should have heard a click. So
I think the scariest one that I got was years ago. And a dude, we just got done shooting the qual. It was a BSIS class. We just got done shooting the qual. I can't remember what company it was for or with. And we'd cleared out and the range had gone completely cold. And I'm scoring targets. And even after we had cleared everyone out, and one guy somehow cranks a round off as I'm scoring targets on the other end of the damn range.
I know what you're talking about.
Which means he had to reload and shoot, and no one else was paying attention on the line.
Yes, and it's funny because some of the guys that are tuning in are actually from that company. So
There's a solid chance, actually, if we look at the viewers on Facebook, we're at a total of 6. 6 right now.
yeah, these are all guys
6
I,
viewers,
either
baby.
have worked with or no. Well, with the exception of Ryan, I don't know Ryan.
And then, what are we doing on Twitch right now? Hey, 2 dudes from Twitch. All right. And that segues into, wait, let me find my cursor. This lovely gentleman, Tom.
Hey, what's going
Tom,
on?
how do you live your life? You didn't start at MP. What did you start life as? And tell us about that.
Oh gosh, we can go farther back, but I guess my life in the military.
We'll do that.
Which you call my adult life.
Your
by
adult
the way.
life, yes.
And you will never let me forget it because I act like an adult too much, I guess.
Rulebot.
Robot.
One of us has to.
Segue into myself and in my life. Man, I've had a lot of ups and downs growing up, and it's taken me to fall so much throughout my life now to get where I'm at. And I'm very accomplished, and I feel like I'm very accomplished. And obviously, you're never done. But I started off in the military in 2009. I joined the infantry. So I was one of those, gun-ho kids out of high school that was like, I remember 9/11. It was one of those things that kind of struck home for me. And going back to what Garrett and I were talking about a little bit ago, mainly referring to, what are you actually good at? And like, what do you actually feel like your aspirations are? And like, what can you contribute to life? And obviously I was never going to be that kid that went to school, like go to college and build computers or do anything like these famous people that are on all these Instagrams and social medias and all. Like I've never been that guy. I've never been a technology savvy guy. So I was like, oh, well, obviously my life is into some form of law enforcement or military or any of that. So I went to the recruiter, joined in 2009. This was shortly after high school, a couple years after high school. And mainly having no idea what to do. I'm a young 20-year-old not knowing what to do in life. And I was like, hey, I want to serve my country. What do you got for me? And hey, you want to be an infantryman? I'm like, I don't know what that is, but I'll take it. So,
it's like on the video games, right?
On the video games, yeah. I was just like, okay, infantry, what is that? He's like, oh, well, you're going to serve your country like you want. All right, great.
That works.
Didn't know what I was getting myself into, man.
It doesn't sound like a specific answer, but here we go.
What's that?
Sutton, you scored a 2 on your ASVAB. You're going to be perfect for the infantry.
Sweet, nailed it. Here's the kicker too. As dumb as I make myself out to look right now, I've actually scored really high on the ASVAB. They were offering me like Black Hawk mechanic. Apparently, I really scored high in the mechanics level. Obviously, I work on cars as a hobby. Well, I have as you can see here, one of my projects is a '66 Mustang.
Wait for you to give that back to me, actually.
What's that?
I was waiting for you to give that back to me, actually.
Yeah. Not gonna happen, but love you guys. So there I was, 11 Bravo infantry. If anybody knows, you can Google it. And I found myself going to Fort Lewis, Washington. So stationed at Fort Lewis. Within the first 2 days, I was told I'm going to go to Afghanistan.
You were with 2ID then, yeah?
I was with 2ID up at Fort Lewis.
What unit with 2ID?
I was 2nd Brigade at the time, which is, it was 5th Brigade at the time, which they switched to 2nd Brigade after a long drawn-out investigation debacle, which people could look that up. There's a long history with the 2nd ID, some good, some bad, and unfortunately, there was a really bad time when I was in. So I was up there. Within 2 months, I was getting my SRP process, found myself in Kuwait, waiting.
Arifjan or Doha?
Yeah, Kuwait and waiting. So it was me and a select 30 reserve National Guard, active Army reserve forces that were basically Rear D is what they call it, rear detachment. And they had us out there waiting in Kuwait. We finally got the order, got a flight out the next week after that, and found ourselves in the middle of Afghanistan. And I actually went to Kandahar Air Base, if anyone's familiar with Afghanistan. Found myself Kandahar, and I was like, okay, this is my station. Not bad. Looks great. This is pretty cool. It's eye-opening. There's a lot of stuff here. And they're like, oh, no, this isn't your station. Yours is then the Maiwan province. Again, if anyone's been to Afghanistan, they know what probably Maiwan province is. I could go into the dirty details if you want. So there I am.
For the other people that don't know.
Look it up. Get on the Google it. Found myself in Maiwan with my unit. And I have to say, man, that was a culture shock for me. 21 years old, in the middle of Afghanistan, and it's that fight or flight moments. Like, obviously, there's a really good book called On Killing by Lieutenant Colonel Dave Grossman. And I read that very thoroughly, kind of just understanding the aspects of like how your mind's altered and changed throughout different events in your life. And I found myself just really trying to understand, like, why am I here? What's going on? And how do you survive?
Now, at what point how many trips for Afghan was that for 2ID? 2 or 1?
So when I went, they've already been twice, so they were already there 2 years. So they, typically any infantry unit's going to have a year off, year on kind of deal, depending on what brigade you're in. So yeah, about that.
At what point did you get assigned as a SDM?
Okay, so yeah, I'll push it a little forward. So came back from Afghanistan. I was a driver and a rifleman, and then mostly it was out like backpacking, man. We were just out on foot all day long. Even though we were a striker brigade, we hardly ever use those things.
No.
So I got back. I really wanted to transition my career a little bit more into, higher pace, get some more stuff, get more knowledge, and I signed up to be on a sniper team or be a part of get in a sniper school, because that's the ultimate goal, is to get to the school. And the only segue to that was SDM school. So if you don't know what SDM is, it's a squad designated marksman school. They kind of teach you fundamentals, the basics of long-range shooting. So I got a really good grasp on that, and I loved it. It was a good passion of mine. Well, it still is a good passion of mine. I still love shooting today. And I was able to take a lot of those fundamentals and apply them to not only everyday life, but all of my all aspects of shooting with anything. So you could take an airsoft gun, you could take a regular rifle, a handgun. You could take anything of that nature and apply simple, very simplistic techniques of shooting and continue on.
We're gonna have a tactical pause for Tom as he does some
Tactical
dad level
pause.
stuff.
Parent moment.
Okay, so yeah, sorry about that.
Which you just
Tom's life.
It's the dad eye roll, which means oh my gosh.
It's like, oh wow, okay.
LOL.
So
So got the SDM
okay.
spot.
Okay, so SDM, you know, all these fundamentals. I was tremendously blessed to have that school, because I wouldn't be who I am today, or have the fundamentals I have today, if I didn't go to that school. Like, you could get fundamentals from shooting anywhere, but when you start talking about long range shooting, and you start talking about the aspects of, like, you know, the rifle and what actually is capable of the rifle, what's capable of your own self, and then they really break down the mathematics of it. And man, if you could ever go to a school like that, I'd take advantage of it.
So fast forward many years, you and I meet each other in the guard.
Yep.
Really
Well,
all that fun,
yeah.
and then Gitmo.
And then Gitmo. So yeah, so 2012, I got out of the active duty Army life. I did 2 tours in Afghanistan, moved over to the National Guard, met my friend Jimmy here. Jimmy.
First team leader.
First team leader.
Is that even a fucking corporal?
You were a corporal.
Okay.
You were a corporal. I was a specialist.
That's right, because you missed me getting my ass kicked at SLO and I got pinned.
Yes, I did.
I saw those pictures.
I come back to a drunken, hungover team leader.
Transitioning from drunkenness to a hangover, to be fair.
Mind you, the whole company, well, not the whole company, but our platoon specifically, Jimmy, first platoon, had, I guess you guys had a binger that night, like the whole platoon. And I'm like, I like what I see, but then
Otherwise
I was like,
known
man.
as drill weekend.
Right?
Dude, I don't remember
Drill
what we
weekend.
did, but we always got tanked.
Oh, dude, it was constant.
I think if I was still dating Ches at the time, I think that was the night that we all went to Badlands, which is a gay club in Sacramento, and we all just had a blast. And there was like 8 of us, and we just got plastered.
Oh my god.
Ended up in random hotel rooms throughout the company. We didn't know. I was like, is this my room? That's got a bed night.
Yeah.
Just
Anyway.
remember we had that stand we had in Sacramento and Badlands. Remember, they were right next to us, and you were
Oh,
like
yeah.
talking because you knew all the guys.
When
and
I
I'm
did
like,
the vendor booths for the Pride events and for the Rainbow Festival. Yeah. That was a lot of fun.
Randy was there actually.
Yep, that was Pride. That was Sac Pride. Getting back to Tom.
Sorry.
Okay. No, you made me just feel that again, like all those times we went out. And you know, one thing we did do, we definitely worked hard and we played hard as well, man. We had a good time. Galvin's, if you're listening in, you remember those good times. Manny Torres and all the other guys, Richard Mayer, all these really good OG 270th guys that, you know,
now that
made our
you're an
first
adult.
today.
You're an adult now. You're an Army adult. So what's your
I'm
current
an Army
position?
adult. So
You got your rocker, yeah? You've got your first rocker.
I got E6.
How much do you hate it? Fucking sucks, right?
I hate and love it, man. I have such a pride and such a nostalgic pride for the military. I really do. I think I was meant to do it. It's just something I can never get away from. Again, it's
So
that destiny
happy.
thing I was talking about with Garrett. Just destiny in itself. It just led me back to the same thing over and over again. Even though I'm like, hey, I'm going to get out. I think I'm going to do something else. And where do I find myself? Right back in it.
Behind a desk.
But a different rank, you know, and currently working on my 7 now. And it's definitely been a challenge. It's been a blessing. It's been a pain in the ass. It's been all of it. So thanks to Jimmy, I'm still in it. So now I'm a full-time employee for the National Guard at AGR, so Active Guard Reserve. I've been to all kinds of training, from Jimmy's civilian defense training to all the Army training. You know, obviously we do a lot of pistol, a lot of rifle. I went to the CCM combat match, California combat match, which Jimmy's been to.
That shooting, that's the State National Guard. So the actual title for that is the California State National Guard Shooting Championships.
Correct. I have to say I was introduced to that by Jimmy. And, you know, again, you can't be good training. All those guys are excellent shooters. We just California just placed was it first and second
Dude,
in
Cal National Guard is killing it right now.
In the country. Like top shooters in the country come from the California Army National Guard right now. That's something you got to be really prideful about, especially being a Californian. Not too many things we can be proud of. So, which
is hilarious because California is not known for shooters.
We'll take right. You think California? You're like, oh god, all the
bunch of liberal gun burning hippies. Oh really? You mean the guys that are smoking the active duty units on the East Coast? Keep talking. Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
So I placed all kinds of different places in many guns. So I did was it 14th overall in the tree gun, 9th overall in pistol, and then these are throughout the years. I've done 10th place in overall in some of them. So I've definitely been up there. I have to say, no matter what, like what your skill level is, just definitely go and attempt it. Try it. Do whatever you got to do, because there's no such thing as a failure. Like anytime you do fail, you're always moving forward. So always fail forward, fail often, because that's how you're going to learn. That's how you're going to grow and be an adult like me.
Right. So we're gonna what? Go for it.
No, go ahead. I think I've very much capped it off at that point. So go ahead.
So that's gonna be the end of the intro part for anyone that's just tuning in. They're like, these guys said they were going to talk about like airsoft training products. They're talking about getting drunk at gay bars. Like it's part of the shooting culture in California.
For the record, you're the only one to go to that bar. Me and Tom were busy.
That club is fire. That club is fire. Anyway, so we'll get on to the actual question, the meat of this, so to say. So I have some. This is where it gets a little scripted on my part. Got some questions here. As questions pop up in the comment section for either the Facebook or the Twitch, we will take them. I've got a few Instagram questions that are coming in as well. So we'll start this off with Tom. First question. Actually, we'll get into, click on you. Tom, tell me about the airsoft products that, hang on. It's the wrong mouse, 2 mice. I gave Tom a little 2-week present of some airsoft stuff. Tom, tell me about those products and what you thought about them.
Oh my gosh. I have to be honest, and I'm not going to draw this out one, I promise. The KWA weapons that you let us borrow, so you let us, my son and I, borrow. I have to say, at first, airsoft to me was kind of like, this isn't a real gun, Jimmy. Like,
same.
How am I supposed to, grasp fundamentals out of this thing, or even just take it seriously? And I have to say, after playing with those, I've definitely shot airsoft before. It was definitely out of just having fun, going around with Jimmy over at the church, just trying to enjoy just a couple rounds of airsoft. The 2 guns, or the 3 guns he gave us to use, I have to say, it's night and day compared to what we used to shoot. So a spring-loaded gun, shooting an airsoft gun is very fun, very good, toy-like, right? But when you get these more advanced guns like the KWA has, are so realistic, man, just how they're built, they feel like you're shooting the real thing. The weight, even the blowback on some of these are absolutely phenomenal. I was able to teach very basic fundamentals to my son in the backyard, just using the 9mm Beretta gas blowback airsoft gun. And to know that, like, to actually not put ear pro on, obviously we're eye pro, but to not do all that, not to bring him out to the range, make this a full day thing, I was able to go in the backyard, take the handgun, show him what's right, what's wrong, give him the basics, and then have him engage targets. Now, when we were engaging targets, all of these fundamentals of shooting, which the Army has 5, that's debatable still. If we obviously got more. But so to take these targets and actually have them bring in his shot group and engage with them, I have to say, man, that right there, not only is saving me money, but is saving us time, is giving us the preparation for the real thing. I have plenty of real guns that my son has shot, and it was definitely nerve-wracking for a 9-year-old to go out there and shoot an actual AR-15, or go out and shoot a 22 caliber version of the AR-15, or even a handgun. So to have the airsoft as a segue into shooting is phenomenal. It's such a good teaching technique, and I recommend any dad out there listening in to take this kind of seriously and teach your kids everything you can possibly teach them about fundamentals of shooting. They're going to benefit from it. For one, learn how to be actually aware of what they're doing with a handgun. And like Garrett and Jimmy were talking about earlier, going to the range is probably one of the scariest things you can do. Obviously, I've been a range instructor quite a bit, or been a range safety guy, facilitator, and watching people like that are not, they don't know, grown adults don't know how to handle a gun. It is the most terrifying thing in the world. So teaching them young, Garrett, so like teaching them young now is definitely great. It's absolutely amazing, and I feel very accomplished being a dad teaching actual gun fundamentals to my child.
All right, so what I gave Tom...
you want me to go get him?
No, you guys can't see it on the screen on the Hangouts right now. For the guys that are watching the stream, there is this company that I work with, kind of, called KWA. They have this at-home training kit, depending on the gun you want. So they have the ATP, which, so in Airsoft, for those who don't know, currently a company called Elite Force, which is a subsidiary of Umerix, is the only company for this, really as a whole, in the States at least, that has the licensing, the official licensing permission from Glock. So if you want an actual, and I'll switch this to, I'll switch this to Garrett in a second. So the ATP is like a G series pistol. Kind of the nice thing about the ATP not actually looking like a Glock pistol is if you're looking at it from like a professional training standpoint, there is no real feasible way to confuse an ATP with like a duty or a carry Glock. And as a trainer, that's something you always want to be very cognizant about for your safety environment, is I want to make sure that my Airsoft Glock doesn't go in my duty holster outside of training for a CCW for a duty use. They have a 1911. Also, for anyone on the stream, here's what the ATP looks like. Wow, they are out of stock. KWA, hurry up with that restock. They have the 1911 PTPM Mark IIs. I believe the dimensions of these are based off of the, I'm going to say the Springfield TRP operator pistol. So if you have a Springfield 1911 pistol, I am fairly positive that this airsoft gun will fit into that holster. And then they have my baby, the PTP M9. For this kit, those are the only 3 pistols available. However, if you want, you can assemble this kit from other aspects of their website, but the full kit is only currently available in these 3 guns. KWA does make an M9A1 with a rail, but it's not specifically available in this kit. The other kind of groovy things they include, obviously, the green gas, which is shown here. They give you 1,000.25 BBs, which is really kind of a better weight in my opinion. I'm not a big fan of the 2s because of just the weight of the projectile. And they have these soda can sized targets that are static targets. You could shoot, if anyone's seen any of the videos, this is what I've been using. And if you want to do, say you just want 6 targets, it's about $160 before shipping. So we go back to, nope, not that. Yes, make that go away. And we're back to Tom. So that is what I also gave Tom I gave you the mod 1. No,
yes.
What did I give you, the mod 1?
I think it's the mod 1. I can go get it if you want.
No, I'm just going to look it up on the, okay, as soon as I get my laptop working right. I gave you the mod 1. Did I give you the T6 also, the M4, or just the SMG looking gun?
The SMG.
So that was the mod 1. The mod 1, where is it? T10, QRF mod 1. Is this fun little thing. That's my website. Come on. Oh, we're on that dial-up speed right now. We are really working on it. So anyone watching the stream, this is the mod 1. It's a kind of a similar MP5 style design, but it's just a super fun gun to shoot. So we now go back to SLOBS, kill the Chrome browser, and there's Tom.
All right.
We will now switch over to Garrett. Garrett, recently purchased. You got a couple things. You have a Laser USA setup and an Elite Force Glock series pistol. Tell me about those things.
Oh wow. Well, it's kind of funny because I think when we started off, you were always the one that was always into the airsoft stuff, and
For sure.
my thoughts on airsoft were a little skewered, I guess you could say,
That's
from
fair.
what I've done in law enforcement. Now, when we were in law enforcement, they would give us airsoft guns to do certain things, like if we had a vehicle dynamics assault course. They would give all the guys on the team these airsoft guns, just because they really got tired of us shooting the patrol cars. So
That could be an issue, yeah.
it kind of gets expensive. So you got all these professional SWAT guys that are shooting cars, which I don't understand. Move from that, and now we're getting into these airsoft guns. And back when I was doing it, again, there's a little bit of age difference. So we had these guns that totally changed our manual of arms. So was a situation where, okay, if I know I'm issued a Glock from my department, which was our standard issue, okay, this is sort of like a Glock. It won't fit in your holster. It doesn't load the same. It doesn't shoot the same. And every gun that you get in the airsoft community back then was a pump action. No matter if it was an M4 setup, a bolt, a pistol, you always had to pump it to make it work. So I was a little skeptical, and due to us being friends for so long, I guess I had to listen to you for a little bit. And I'm like, hey, why not? Why not try it? We'll see what it goes with it. So recently you sent me the Glock, which I have right here. I don't know if you can see that. I'm modeling it right now. So with that being said, picking this up for the first time, I was like, wow, this is a very different change to what I'm used to as far as the airsoft world. So if this is what the airsoft world is putting out, I could throw my money on this. So the gun feels exactly the same, with the exception of I did a minor change, and I posted that video on the Eagle Defense website with my son shooting the targets. The barrel that comes with it is shooting the BBs. Now the difference between me and James is that I have 3 kids and 2 dogs, so I don't want them eating the airsoft pellets all the time. So I got this other really nice setup from Sure Strike, and it's basically a laser barrel. So with that being said, you would still do everything the same you would with your airsoft setup with this laser barrel. The cool thing about this is you can just set this up in your garage, and if I just ride this thing home, and James, I don't know if you can see the target.
I can.
But if I go ahead and press on that target and shoot it, I'm going to get that accurate. I hit the target. They're gonna let me know I hit the target. No mess, no BBs. Obviously, I'm not using the green gas, but you could fill this up with green gas the same way you would, and get to practicing with this with the reciprocal barrel. I'm sorry, a reciprocal slide, just like you would with any other firearm. So, totally bought into that system. I was pretty happy with it. I don't have to pick up BBs because I'm sort of getting into the world of airsoft, but I don't want to go and do all that yet.
Right.
And
it's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot. And with the,
it's a lot.
Yeah, with the current issue with not being able to go anywhere or just go to a range or whatnot, or even get ammo. One of the big things that I've seen with students that I have is that the students that do the best aren't the operators, aren't the Army guys, aren't the Marine Corps guys, or the military guys. And no offense to them, what they do great. The guys that I see that excel, believe it or not, were the airsofters in my class because they've already had the fundamentals down, and airsoft is a sort of dry fire exercise. Right. And the guys that do the best on the range are always the guys that do the dry fire. You dry fire until you get it right. And I think that in our world, I don't know if Tom has seen this in his instructor stuff.
One of the things Tom and I have seen.
Right, and I'm sure you guys see quite a bit of things, but
Bro.
What I see that people will excel in is the fact that they're doing something as far as getting that dry fire practice in, and they're just getting that repetitive motion down, that muscle memory of going ahead and doing the dry fire. And there's so many things out now where I believe that airsoft has evolved. Where at one point in time I was like, yeah, I'm not really sure about this. To the point now where these guys are hiring guys like yourself to be a law enforcement ambassador and to say what works and what doesn't work. So is this almost real? Is this close to real? And they're trying to get it as close to the real thing as they can. So now you have the ability to pick up something like, a regular, Glock 19, which has been safety checked, so we know it's empty. But if I'm getting this gun and I'm deciding, okay, I'm going to get this airsoft gun and go ahead and throw it in this holster, it's going to work with everything I'm using. So this would be my duty setup when I'm going to work. So can I not practice this with said laser targets and get my dry fire practice in when I can't shoot live? So it does help me out that way, and I'm able to do some cost-effective practice and keep it with the same manual of arms that I'm used to with my my live fire and my duty gun that I carry every day. So I think that's a very big plus.
So let's question for both of you. Tom will start with this answer. So before you experienced like the products that I've provided you with, basically. So before that, what was your thought when you heard of basically about airsoft? Like what went through your mind? What products were you thinking of? What was the quality of those products? And now that you have an actual experience with present day, like dare I say mid to high level airsoft products, what are your thoughts? Tom, before and after, go.
Okay, so before, obviously, like I told you, I had a lot of experience. Well, not a lot of experience, but just experience shooting airsoft guns. Growing up as a kid, it was something that new that came out. And we're talking, gosh, like let's say 18, 20 years ago. Airsoft was a brand new thing, and it was all spring-loaded stuff. Stuff made in China typically. So it was definitely a toy. It was definitely a toy and a very realistic gun. So then, the idea of actually having a realistic looking gun that's not a gun is kind of dangerous. So I think the airsoft world really just died down for a while, and then just not too long ago, I feel like probably within the last 5-6 years, it's starting to make a real big comeback in the world. But it made a comeback with such an advanced features. So originally thinking about it, I was like, airsoft to me wasn't the kind of thing you're going to get any type of education from. You're not going to get any type of fundamentals from it. You could probably learn safety from it, like learning not to point the barrel at someone's face, but you really can't get a whole lot out of it. And then after getting educated by Jimmy, as far as, hey, there's a whole nother world out here, and it is advanced. Even that laser target that you have there, Garrett, like I've never seen that before. I've seen ideas of that before, like they use that target that has like a sticky back, so like the BBs will stick to the sticky, like it'll stick to the foam. So they had those, but that right there is impressive, and I'm probably gonna invest my money into that now that I'm looking at it. So
welcome to the obsession.
But no, you should. What's that?
I'm sorry, Tom. No, I'm working on that right now, where they're giving discounts to NRA instructors. But I got in touch. I'm sorry, with the laser ammo, which is the targets are laser interactive ammo, which is great because these targets actually communicate with each other. So you have certain modes that you can use. So you can have the steel mode and just shoot, and you'll hear the ping, ping, ping when you shoot it. It's great. And they'll have other modes where like shoot, no shoot, or follow the ball. So all these targets will be red, and you shoot the one that's green.
Yeah.
And that's really great. They work with other laser guns as well. So like at my company, we use the CERT gun, which is it's not an airsoft. It doesn't shoot airsoft, but it has the same weight as a firearm. And the good news is with this one, if you can tell, I don't know if you can see the dot, but when you're pulling that trigger, you can see that red dot comes on. Now, with that red dot, it's just showing you what you're doing when you're dealing with that trigger. Are you setting your trigger right during that preparatory trigger pull? Are you mushing the trigger or whatnot? This is not going to lie to you. When you have that trigger and then you actually pull it, you get that green laser, and that's your actual trigger pull. So at that time, it's showing you what you're doing. Like I know that both of us, or all three of us, have seen teaching somebody that anticipation of the round, especially people that are brand new, even people that are veteran shooters like ourselves. We have that anticipation still, no matter what. We know the recoil is coming, and human nature, we can't stop ourselves from anticipating. Um, this is a tool that'll show you what you're doing. So it's one of those expensive. You're gonna cry once, but it's better than crying multiple times, in my thoughts. And very simple. Going back to the gun that James recommended for me as far as the Glock, I can't talk. I could talk for days about it, honestly. But great tool. The situation with this gun is that the way it pulls down, it field strips like a regular Glock. You just take out the barrel that it comes with, which is that airsoft barrel, and you're putting in that laser barrel. And lasers, technically, if they're accurized, they don't lie. You know, we've been using lasers for God knows how long. The law enforcement and civilian world, I'm not too sure about your guys' Army careers, but to accurize said optics or see where that trigger pull is going, if that laser is accurate enough, you're going to see where that bullet's supposed to drop. I mean, if you take minute of angle out, you're just dealing with a pistol. So it's a great device. On top of that, you're not having to pick up all those BBs. So I can only imagine what James's backyard looks like.
No.
But this kind of keeps up the mess. Myself, like Tom, I have 3 kids and a wife. So if I go around having a bunch of BBs all over the place, I'm probably going to get yelled at. I don't have the freedom that James does.
Then there's that.
No, neither do I. So,
right.
but gosh, dude, like that technology is so amazing, man. And I think the world as we know it now is changing constantly. Like it's a rapidly pace of just change, and I think we're just scratching the surface really with this technology. Like as far as the military goes, we go back to very archaic caveman style fundamentals of shooting, which obviously work. They're renowned. They're proof that they do work. But taking something of that nature, this technology, and even applying that to the military aspect, like all these new shooters that come in, or even just shooters that are just not experienced, like taking that and showing them at anticipation, showing them the trigger squeeze, showing them the sight picture, and really lining everything up for them without that mental breakdown that a lot of these people have on the range. And for a lot of new shooters, I'm sure you guys can attest that that the mental breakdown that some of these people have, just even holding the gun, is insane. Like, you know, they know which way the dangerous end is, but they still have that feeling of like fight or flight, or that the death feeling of like, this can kill something, this can kill myself, you know. And I've seen a lot of shooters literally throw down their gun, like drop their gun or set it down and walk away because it was just too much for people to handle. But
it's real.
And I think I think it's baby steps too. I don't think they're untrainable like people or soldiers. I just think that introducing them to this type of technology, this type of fundamentals of shooting, is such a entrance level that can be expanded from front to back. Like you could take a brand new shooter, teach them everything, and you could take a veteran shooter and just improve skills with that type of technology. It doesn't have to be airsoft; it could be that laser technology, but either one, man, that's phenomenal. And I'm a buyer. Like, I'm sold 100%.
Yeah, it's definitely a game changer. I can tell you, just for my aspect, having 2 daughters and a son, and they're older, but my son is all about, he's a typical guy. You know, he's like, oh, shoot, blow stuff up. Great, let's do it. And so he didn't really have any hesitation to when he got to a live firearm. You know, you have that initial scare. And it's kind of like how all us guys that's been overseas, you have that night where you drink and we're all going to get tattoos. There's always that one guy that looks like he's full battle ready, buff guy, and as soon as he hears that buzz, he falls to the ground and we got to carry him out. With that being said, it's with my daughters, it was one of those. I see how the gun jumps; it kind of scares me. And even though you got the green gas that James kind of introduced me to, and yeah, it's going to blow back, but it's not going to blow back like an actual firearm. It gives you the kind of bare essentials of how a firearm acts without all of the rough force. So introducing this setup to my daughters, got them to go to the range. So when we have those students, because unfortunately now we're in the civilian world, and Tom, you're still in the military, but with myself and James, we're not teaching law enforcement officers. We're our business. I would like to say 90% of our business, and I can't attest for James, but he'll chime in and say it, is probably civilian CCW and civilian Bureau of Security Investigative Services guys that are just there because they have to do their calls.
Yep.
They really don't like the gun. They're kind of scared of the gun.
Box checkers.
Civilians. We had that one guy, James. I don't know if you remember, but I think he was Russian. He was a great shooter, but
the Ukrainian guy.
Yeah, but Ukrainian.
Ukrainian.
Nothing against Ukrainians, but yeah, he was a challenge because we couldn't understand him.
So backstory to that was actually the father-in-law for one of the from a coworker of mine that sent him because remember that was his wife that was doing the translations for him.
Yes.
And all he had, Tom, you'll love this. All he had were nickel-plated SIG pistols with rosewood grips, and that was it. He had a same with the Beretta 92, and he had it was like a 226, but it was only nickel-plated and rosewood. It was just, the gentleman.
Phenomenal.
He had a classic 22, I think it was a 228 and a 227, and you can't even get those anymore.
Nope.
I'm like, I know rules. This guy, you're looking at this guy, and he's got a little bit of age on it, doesn't speak English, but I'm like, he's probably killed people with a spoon before. That's just what went on in my mind, and I'm like,
it's the Ukrainian John Wick. That's what you're telling me.
Could have been, yeah.
Pretty much. But when you get he was very comfortable with his firearm. But the wife wasn't really too comfortable. She didn't really do it. I guess it was just in their culture where she really didn't touch it. So it would have been a great tool to have that technology that we have and everything we do. And Tom, I'm sure, and James, you guys could both attest, and I know I can, is that we have a system in place that now we're kind of getting over the fact that, this is how America does it. This is how Dad does it. It's pretty much worked out so far, except when we signed that dotted line to go off to wherever we went. But now we're getting to the part where things are evolving. We're not doing things the way they were started in the beginning. Before, we weren't allowed to have two hands on a pistol. We were only supposed to have one because it's considered a handgun. So we figured out having two hands on the pistol is better. So the real firearms industry is moving forward, evolving. We're not still using halogen lights. We're using LEDs. We're not using wad cutters. We're using stuff like Hornady Critical Defense that has a polymer head or whatnot. And with Airsoft, it had a stagnant thing that, like you were talking about earlier, Tom, where it was just like, okay, this is this cheap thing that came from somewhere, and we're not really digging this for our training, our soldiers, Marines, and cops or military personnel, because it doesn't really adapt to what we're doing. It doesn't translate. So they're starting to get to a point now where they're translating this this marketing scheme into, okay, well, if they're carrying Glocks or they're carrying Berettas or they're carrying SIGs, why don't we make it as close to a derivative of that weapon that these guys are using so that it translates easily? And with law enforcement and military, overseas contracting, it's all the same. We're all about, like I tell everybody, I try to think on the third grade level. Teach me something. This is what I'm going to use. This is what's going to save my life. I want to know the ins and outs of this. I don't want to know any other things. So if you're introducing training to me and it's going to be totally different than what I'm going to be dealing with in the theater, why are we doing it?
So both of you guys, it would be fair to say that prior to you guys experiencing more modern Airsoft products, you didn't really have the highest expectations for Airsoft products, but now that we go into basically the 21st century Airsoft stuff, your expectations have been, basically your standards have been blown out of the water, and you're very impressed. And additionally, it sounds like, Garrett, that you're okay with the felt recoil, at least of Airsoft handguns, not being as drastic as that 1-to-1 ratio with an actual pistol, because of that reduced recoil. Now it's a more effective training tool for, say, a beginning shooter, because they're so terrified of that actual recoil that an Airsoft gun's recoil is actually more matches up better, I would say, to a new shooter. Would you say that's accurate, Garrett?
Yeah, I would say that, and it's just the you're taking out the factor, and of course, can an Airsoft gun hurt you? Yeah, but is it going to cause great bodily injury or death? Probably not. So your students, especially my new students, I'm sure yours too, but are not really so scared. And I've seen the change from, oh my god, I got a real gun in my hand, even if it's a 22, to, oh, this just shoots plastic. Okay, I'm okay with this. So getting them to get comfortable with that, and then transitioning from airsoft to live fire is easier than going from just giving them a live fire gun and having them dry fire, because they're just used to click, click, click. But now this airsoft is, I believe it's green gas.
Yeah.
Or yeah, so now they're getting that little jump into it, and the recoil is felt, even though it's very little, but it's still enough to go, okay, this has got something, so I gotta adjust to this.
Tom, kind of the same piggyback basically. So you're okay, or excuse me, before I dropped off all the fun products to you, you didn't have the highest expectations for airsoft products, but now that you've specifically got a chance to handle KWA products, specifically that KWA at-home self-defense kit, and even the Mod 1, which is more of like a fun recreation gun, you have a very high standard, or a very high confidence basically in airsoft products, and you're okay with that recoil not being that, like, still with some umph to it, but not as drastic, because you can still use it in the backyard.
Exactly. Yeah. So that recoil, that anticipation that everybody has, is probably everyone's worst fear when they're shooting. It's definitely a drawback. As far as an instructor, it is so hard to tell somebody, don't over anticipate. It is, you can't teach that. Yeah, about that. There's ways to teach it, but there's ways, and it's frustrating. But with that small little bit of blowback from that gun, my 9-year-old can literally feel okay shooting it. Like, he has no problem shooting it, and he knows the anticipation's coming. You can actually still teach it when he anticipates that shot with the gas blowback. But it is not nearly what actual 1-to-1 would be on a handgun.
No.
But it's definitely that introduction to it, and that's why I'm really drawn to it. It's an introduction to good fundamentals of shooting, and that I really pride my training on.
The actual decibel level for a 9mm is what, like 160, 170 decibels, something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
Airsoft guns are about... Do they break 100 decibels in airsoft?
Oh, I
don't think they do.
I don't think they break 100. No,
I don't think they break 100.
Something like that, depending what you're using. Depending from CO2 to green gas, and like I said, I started geeking out when you started showing me. So, it's not half as loud. It's not half as violent. So you're looking at the aspect of the new student that's getting into it, and it works with the BSIS training. We can set up classes and have these guys shoot at this projector or whatnot, or shoot at these
hopefully, yeah.
Right.
Waiting for that email to come back.
Right, and it's good. And then on the other end of things, we have our guys that are actual real-world operators or law enforcement officers, military personnel that are like, hey, this is my duty belt setup. I can't fit this Halo gun inside my holster. Where now you can get this gun that acts like a Glock, look like a Glock, and is actually patented by Glock, which you're telling me, James?
Yes, that's an officially licensed Glock pistol.
Well, yeah, and then you got that, and on top of that, you can actually get these said attachments that you would have on your regular firearm, because you can
put a TR. Kids literally put TRLs on those things,
which is crazy to me, right? And I'm just
Thank you.
So just buy the one that's like $20. Why are you buying the $100 gun? It's like,
Flex.
I'm sorry, the $100 light. I guess maybe it's flex points. I don't know. You understand. You teach these kids, James, so you would be able to tell me. But like all this stuff I got in the background, this is stuff I wore overseas, and I'm like.
So for the airsoft nerds at home, what is actually on that helmet? We're gonna take a small segue away from the whole purpose of this whole thing.
Right. So
I know someone's gonna ask.
All right. So what we got here is we got a night vision. It's a PVS 18. I believe these are Unity tactical attachments with arc rails. So you have your regular Peltors. I took off the communication line, so it's just electronic hearing. Night vision. We got our IFF light. I can't remember the company. I think it's called Manta. And these strips. I think these are. I believe this one actually was from your airsoft company. It's not IR. It's just a regular red beat light. This one is the IR.
Valken maybe, or Enola Game might make those. I can't remember.
It might. You got your counterweights because you see a lot of guys, and I see it in airsoft. these kids is that they'll throw on these
All front weight helmets.
and it just goes this way. So if you don't put something in the back, you guys and pretty much all of us can vouch.
Who makes the helmet?
Hard-Headed Veterans makes this helmet. Great company, and again, the name addresses who they are. They are vets, so we're getting all the I would say stuff that you can buy on eBay or buy online. You don't want to do that with a helmet. It's you don't know what you're getting. So if you get a company that's basically run by veterans, they're going to know how things feels. They're going to know what the weight needs to be. They're going to know comfort level and all that stuff, and it's just going to be a lot better for you. So are you going to be spending a lot of money? Yeah. Now, I don't understand why an airsoft person would want to buy buy a ballistic helmet. So I believe you can buy what are called bump helmets that are plastic, and they're going to be a lot cheaper. Unless you're really thinking that one of your friends just really don't like you and they're going to shoot you with a real gun or something, you don't really need ballistics. You don't even need real night vision. As far as I know, James, maybe you can touch on that. But
it gets what some of these kids are buying.
It gets pretty crazy.
It's
so
pretty crazy.
I get that. What I was just going off to is that this is my duty belt that I was wearing when I was still in law enforcement.
Is that the Bianchi?
This is Bianchi because I'm old school. But with what's going on as far as these Safari Limb holsters or whatnot, you can get your holsters that are made for your regular guns, and these just fit right in. So there's not much of a difference in anything. So it's kind of great that it still acts the same. And I think we came from a very long way from doing airsoft in the beginning, where you just like, oh, this is just your gun. Well, what kind of gun is it supposed to represent? Well, we don't know. So now it's so realistic to what you're carrying, and the point is stuff for people that are doing this in real life that don't need that change in their manual of arms. They have that mental mindset where, hey, this is
someone's popular.
This is what I'm going to be doing. What's that?
Someone's popular.
Right. I got to get to these questions. I forgot that we were still doing this stuff. But to finish off.
Yeah, finish it off.
Yeah, for what we're doing in the law enforcement military world, like you choose the Beretta because that's what you're used to carrying through your department and being in the military. And I'm used to carrying Glocks because when I was overseas, that's what we carried, and my department carried Glocks. So I got very used to the Glock system. So I didn't really want it to change. I didn't want it to be like, okay, here's this triple-barrel shotgun pump airsoft gun that has heat-seeking air BBs that will not fit your holster.
Heat-seeking air BBs.
That's the new technology right there. That's the new.
We're working towards that. Although I don't know if
Tom, if you're watching, write that down. Heat-seeking air BBs.
Oh, I'm on it. I'm gonna design it right now.
I'm gonna put a TM on that. Just letting you. I'll sue you.
So looking at the OSHA standards, the OSHA standards for noise is 85 decibels. What? Granted, this will be an anecdotal estimation. What would you estimate that the decibels are about, Tom and Garrett, on your airsoft pistols? Tom, what are your thoughts? Tom's adjusting his position. Garrett, what are your thoughts about what would you say that decibel level is when you fire those green gas shots?
I think they registered at, 18 decibels? Don't quote me on that, but it's a lot lower. To put it in perspective, when I decide to be a teenager and go to my garage and not use my weightlifting equipment and tell my wife I am, and I go practice with shooting this stuff, I know that when she is asleep in the other room, which is a door away, and she's a very light sleeper, that she's not waking up. So it can't be that bad. So in reality, you're still going to get that push. You're going to feel it, but the sound is nothing you'd have to wear ear protection on. So
Tom, you don't really need any ear protection. You're shooting it in the backyard. So obviously it's nowhere near 85 decibels. Is that safe to say?
No, not even near that. Obviously I haven't pissed my neighbors off yet.
Well, yeah. So probably 40, somewhere between maybe 20 to 60, somewhere there, a rough estimation?
Oh, yeah, rough estimation.
Without knowing actually what those things sound like and just what numbers are?
Again, I think it depends on the gas you're using, but CO2 or green gas, but also the weapon. So the Beretta, really nice, really quiet. When I get that SMG looking thing, I put that on full auto. It's like, I definitely get some looks from the neighbors the next day. Like, what are you doing over there?
Nothing. Practicing
don't
for the
mind me.
lockdown.
I'm just brushing my teeth. Like,
Jesus Christ.
All right, moving on to the next question. So we'll start with Garrett. So other than the products, so away from the products, right?
Okay.
If someone were to tell you, maybe if they're a guard or a cop or whatever, or a regular, even just a regular person not affiliated with the professional world, I'm an airsofter, I play airsoft. Garrett, what are the assumptions you make in your mind about that kind of person and what they do?
Well, they've dramatically changed from the beginning to where I'm at now. And I think there's this big problem. I think you probably know it better than I do, but I do see it where you get your military and your law enforcement professionals, and they're looking at these guys that are airsofting. And the first time I got introduced to Airsoft Kill House and seeing these guys, it scared the crap out of me because here I am in my, like, regular jeans and a t-shirt, and these guys are coming out in ghillie suits and all this shit. It's like, oh my God, this is not working for my PTSD here. So they get very involved. And I think there's been this big rift that I see this getting a little bit closer, and it's changing where people would make fun of the airsoft community a lot. I know I did as well. Like, what is this stuff? But, I don't see why we would be making fun of the guys and the kids and the younger guys that are going to be our replacements when we get older and actually hopefully get to retire. So these guys that are getting to the military, get to law enforcement, they're probably starting off in the airsoft community, and they're going to have better tools now. With the hiring of people like that are law enforcement ambassadors, teaching them tactics like you do at the ministry, and these are real world tactics, real world fundamentals that we're teaching them. And I think that we should take these guys seriously. I mean, we are using it in the law enforcement world now, and it saves on money, it saves on bullets, it saves on shooting cars, and injury, fatalities, all that stuff's going down in training because we had problems with that for quite a long time.
Tom, same question. If let's say you get a guy fresh out of basic. Let's just go with this right off the bat. Get a kid right out of basic, his first day of drill, and he tells you he's an airsofter. What is going through your mind about this new private?
Okay, so Dave, like present day?
Yeah.
Is that the question? Like,
correct.
Okay, so before I would literally probably, kind of look at him like, oh, it's one of those Call of Duty kind of airsoft kids. Like, okay, cool, whatever. No big deal. Now with this education that I got from you and just kind of understanding the technology, it's like I have capital on that now. I'd be like, okay, well, guess what? How good are you? First off, let's go ahead and talk about, what he actually has learned. Basing it off of that, I would start taking advantage of that, trying to bring that airsoft community into modern day teaching. We in the military, we have other forms of training that are kind of similar to airsoft. Like we have the sim round, if anyone's familiar with the sim round. We also have now, they're like projectors that go up, and we do projector training. So we're shooting at basically video game targets. So we're getting the video game type of technology training involved now. But I think the one that we are definitely needing to capitalize on is the airsoft version of it. I know paintball is a big thing for a long time too. I think that's kind of died down throughout the years.
As a training product, you mean?
As a training, but just in general, I don't see too many paintballers anymore. But
again, trust me, they're there.
Are they there? Okay, good.
Yeah.
I'm glad that hasn't died.
Bastards! They like to freeze the paintballs and shoot you with them.
Oh Jesus!
Oh Jesus!
Oh Jesus! No, yeah, it would be something that I would definitely encourage and bring into my little circle of training. James used to be an instructor for the 270th. Not instructor per se, but you were just somebody that we looked at as, okay, that's the guy that's going to take this new soldier and he's going to give them proper training to actually go and accomplish the Army standard target qualification. We call it the IWQ. So, having these guys that are uneducated, that don't understand weapons, and teach them the fundamentals the hard way, like Jimmy did, the old, ritualistic style of teaching, it is definitely something I want to bring more to the table. if I started to get involved in this a little bit more, I'm going to try bringing these guns into our training. And I know that's more of a funding piece. Like I have to definitely get funded for that. But getting these, I think, will have such a tactical advantage as far as being an instructor.
I can help with that. So would you say, Tom, that so in training we've mixed my thoughts. It is fairly common to do for someone, say a senior leader or a middle manager leader, even in some cases in the law enforcement. But I see this more in the military, where it's specifically in the combat and the MP world with the Army and the Marines. It is fairly common for someone with some rank to come up with you and say, "Hey, I need you to teach these kids how to qualify," and you ask them with, "Okay, where are the guns?" Like, no. You don't get any training tools. You just have to figure out how to do this with literally nothing. And then, and then it's very common for, let's say you're out in a field somewhere on an AT, or you're just on a Styx or an FTX lane somewhere, and someone will just walk up to you and go, "Hey, we're going to do CQB lanes in the next 2 hours. We're about to go out to the kill house. I want you to start doing glass drills." Now, what glass drills are a poor man's CQB training module, which is literally when you draw lines in the dirt that represent a room, and you do CQB entry drills in dirt lines. So Airsoft was really kind of a nice bridge between the gap. We can almost think of it like an enhanced dry fire system. Is that fairly accurate, Tom?
Oh yeah, no, most definitely.
Fucking.
Those glass houses, man. I have to say, it is some training there. There's some to be had, but man, I'll take that over a PowerPoint slideshow all day long.
Bro.
PowerPoint's
free.
That was a thing the military pushed for a very long time. Was, "Oh, we don't have the tools to teach. Here's a PowerPoint, and this will teach you everything you need to know about CQB, or everything you need to know about how to engage targets with an M9 Beretta." Again, you can get training or any type of information or education from anything, but man, going back to what you said, Jim, it's crazy to like, "Hey, go teach these 10 guys to go engage targets without a gun or without anything. Just go and give them your brain for a few minutes." It's like, what can I tell them at that point? You know, and it's so difficult. It's very an archaic way of teaching. But Jimmy, you know, I'm sure you can touch on this all day long, but to teach a soldier or teach anybody about weapons and how to properly shoot a weapon is so hard. It is one of the, you know, it's obviously not everybody's a teacher, not everybody's an instructor. It is the most difficult thing I've probably encountered in my career.
Now, Tom, would you say, going back to the training piece, let's talk about it specifically for the Army, because that's going to be our wheelhouse between you and I. Would you say that it is kind of the way that it is because basically when it comes to weapons training for like the 10 level, the conventional, so let's say like the infantry company or the conventional soldier, they either have actual guns to use or nothing? Would you say that it's kind of like a very black or white spectrum, and there's really no training product kind of in the middle of that?
Yeah, most definitely. I think it comes down to obviously the location where you're at or what company you work for. But when you're trying to actually be a teacher and take pride in being a teacher, a mentor, a senior leader, a advisor, an instructor, you have to take all of your heart and put it into it. If you don't, then there's nothing to be had. But yeah, so I've ran into where they're like, "There's nothing here. We can't possibly teach anything," to where we actually have actual training, tools. So Jimmy, you went from nothing to bringing something to the table because your heart was into it completely. You took not airsoft, but you had dummy guns. You had your personal guns, and bringing those to the table.
I didn't.
Oh, whatever. You're out now. Doesn't matter.
Ain't my problem.
So
For sure,
no,
I
but
brought
you
my
were
actual rifle and M9 to an RSP class once, and apparently I wasn't supposed to. Oh, and I brought my breech shotgun too. And they're like, "Did you just bring real guns?" I was like, no, I did not. I did most certainly not bring real guns to a government training. Oh, it's supposed to. I'll go put these back in the truck.
So, but to what point is that not needed? You know,
Yeah.
your heart was into it completely enough to disobey, or not disobey, but just not even
Disobey.
adhere
Let's
to.
call that what it is.
Okay. So, you know, you were able to just ignore the fact that you probably weren't supposed to do that, but you're like, hey, I'm gonna bring these, and I'm actually gonna give some good training to these soldiers, and that's where it comes down to, matter of care, that 100% care you're gonna put into it, and you know, a lot of people, including myself, have you to thank for a lot of these soldiers to be successful in their careers and to be successful as just a person engaging weapons.
So going back to so with now for the training events that you guys have been doing around your house, I know Tom, I gave you those metal targets. This will be a question for both Tom and Garrett. Other than those metal targets, and Garrett, other than that laser ammo stuff, what have you guys been using for targets? Tom, we'll start with you. Are you just using other than like your son?
Other than my son.
Yeah, other than your son and those metal targets, what are you using for an actual target?
Well, this is funny actually, and this is not rehearsed. You didn't even know about this. So,
what did I just do?
Then the next day, after you dropped everything off, Jaden went in the back, my son, and he's like, "Dad, I want to go shoot. I want to go shoot these." And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, no problem." And I'll set him up. I set everything up, and he wasn't shooting. And I'm like, "Where did he go?" I looked in the house. He's at his desk, and he's literally drawing monsters on a piece of paper.
Yes.
Just faces of monsters. So he's taking these zombie-like creature faces, and he's coloring them. He's doing the whole shebang. And we set up cardboard boxes and taped them to the cardboard box. And my son's back there just killing it, man. He's you know, I was teaching him what I could, nothing too advanced. You always want to start very, you know, lower level training, basic training. So he's back there, and he's actually moving and shooting. And I was just like, a little tear came to the eye. I'm like, oh, man, like,
that's my boy.
My kid's got a natural ability to shoot. So he's back there, you know, shooting and moving. And I'm like, damn, dude, like, it's already starting to evolve. And those targets, yeah, you know, it's endless. You can have targets all day long. You can make whatever you want. Back when I was a younger kid, I used to do a lot of archery. And we set up hay bales, you'll set up cardboard, you'll set up whatever you can, like you could shoot at and get away with shooting at home. And so I think it's the same for Airsoft, it's the same for anything. You know, you just set up anything that you think is going to benefit you as a shooter to properly engage a target. And going back to that book, On Killing, it actually talks about the evolution of the target. So evolving from what we used to shoot in World War I, World War II, and all the way up until about the 70s in Vietnam, we were shooting circle targets.
Yep, bullseye targets.
Bullseye targets, and that's great. It makes a good shot, right? You get the bullseye target in. But they found that most people were having a hard time, most soldiers were having a hard time engaging actual human beings. So what needed to change? Well, essentially, you can call it brainwash. You can, you know, he talks about it in the book, but you're reconforming your brain to comprehend a human body or human silhouette.
Or in your son's case, a monster.
Or the monster. So you take the E-type silhouette, which is just a silhouette of an upper torso and a head, and those were basically conforming your brain to understand, like, oh, well, I need to shoot center mass. And where center mass on a human being is going to be in the chest. So we're automatically now, for the last, 50 years. Yeah, so 50 years we've been training our brains to engage human silhouettes.
So you guys were using paper targets and the metal targets. If I understand correctly, you were only shooting in the backyard, which means your backdrop was basically the fence, so a wooden fence. So your backdrop was wood, right? You didn't do any rounds in the house or in the living room, probably because your wife was like, "Get the fuck out of here with that shit."
No, yeah. I would have been, I'd probably be divorced.
Yeah, for sure.
No,
Luxury
yeah,
period right there.
yeah, no, I keep it outside. And I'm having a hard time with it too, though. Just with the mess. But if you have a designated area, there's like certain types of designated areas you can shoot in my backyard at least, and you design it however you want. So my overall goal at some point is to make a lane. Obviously, the shooting and moving is going to be a little bit more difficult, but having a lane where I can actually set it up and have my son, pick up and do these ready up drills. So like ready up, safety off, and shoot, or and then safety back on, clear your weapon, and load back up, re-engage.
Garrett, same
so
question.
I have him.
You've got the Garrett. You were using the laser targets, shooting in the garage. Was that pretty much the only environment you were using for training? Just those laser targets in your garage?
I was using a laser. That's pretty much the safest as far as cleanup goes. But as far as actually shooting, of course, because since you bought me that gun, I got to do both. So I got to do the laser, and I got to shoot the BBs. I really have to. So I took one from your book, and I just think my wife's asleep, but shot her pots. So using the pots, of course. So we're doing that, and we're also engaging just paper targets that I have kind of taped up against the wall, so you can use that circ gun or that laser dot from the laser barrel to see where I'm hitting. So that's working pretty well. So yeah, that's pretty much it as far as for that going. But I mean, you could technically, if you can find it, it's not live, you're not earning nothing, your target's foreground and background, you can pretty much use anything you want. Just like Tom was saying, I'm also a fellow archery guy, so hay bales, all that stuff is pretty much something that we can all use. So it's you can kind of use anything. Yeah.
So we'll start this one. Next question, we'll start this with Garrett. What else have you used for? We're talking about force training, specifically force training. What training products other than Airsoft have you used with force training, and kind of what was your brief experience of that? I know sim rounds. I used paintball to react to sniper contact, and we had Tippmann 98s in basic for react to contact for snipers. Yeah, because that was great. But right. Garrett, what have you been using other than Airsoft? What has been your experience, either as an instructor, as a student, with force-on-force training products, either sims or whatever else you can think of?
Well, we can go off of just from the academy to when I was on the warrants team for my department, on top of what we were doing at the place that we can't talk about, that securing a little piece of America, which I do remember at about 3 yards, that you and another one of our
that guy. Yeah, I remember that one.
Shot the crap out of me with the simunition.
Sim guns. That's right. We did use sims.
Yes. So
holy crap! I forgot about that.
I didn't forget about it. I still have the marks, man. It was pretty awesome. You guys didn't even give me a chance to turn around and show you I was armed. You guys just freaking.
So there's sim rounds. Have you used sims outside of what we were doing back then?
Yeah. So at the academy, we used the fast machine, so the simulator over there.
Okay.
So those are pretty good because it still has that reciprocating slide, and we can set it up on the computer to, hey, you got a failure. What are you gonna do? So you gotta that tap.
But for you doing force against a live suspect, what products have you used? So not simulators.
So paintball, the Sims, obviously the little soap rounds we were using. That's pretty much it. Paintball and Sims were pretty much a big thing. Airsoft was, we played with it, but back then
technology wasn't that great.
Technology wasn't that great at that time.
So Tom, same question with you. What other products have you used, either as an instructor, as a student, other than Airsoft? Like, have you used paintball? I know we've used Sims before.
Well, a lot of it for my training, going back to that archaic training, you use what you got, and a lot of it, sim rounds were a thing. Definitely started to become a thing. I have to say, 8 years ago, give or take. I got some pretty decent training with sims. We never used paintball or airsoft in any of my training. Going back to just basic fundamentals. We do the dime drills, like penny drills and all that too. So
dry fire drills.
Dry fire drills. And man, you know, that's all we had to work with, and they work though.
So basically nothing because y'all was poor.
We all, yeah. The technology today though is absolutely
way
growing.
Different.
So it's way different. So even in the military, we're evolving. I don't think we're at the point of airsoft yet, but hopefully we can change some of that for at least my company. But the newer, so we got M17s now. So that's definitely a perk. We're getting rid of the Beretta. We're evolving. And now we actually have that video game style shooting, not the EST 2000, but there's a new system out.
There's a lot of new systems coming out.
Well, the new systems are very, they're interactive. So like you can engage a suspect, you know, you're talking to a computer screen, which is kind of ridiculous. If you get past that point, you can kind of get the familiarity of interacting with a person, and what are their intentions. So they pose a hostile threat. At what point do you not start to draw your weapon? So it kind of teaches you weapons intention.
VR stuff, a lot of simulator stuff for you guys now.
Fast
yeah, fast similar to that fast
3 years. Yeah, 4 years from it's been a lot of training with the video games, the VR stuff, and I honestly I was skeptical about it at first, but I've embracing it and it's really good.
So as far as like one private versus another private face to face, there's not a whole lot of products that you guys have had consistently. So pretty much, so it's fair to say that most of the training you guys are doing right now for force-based stuff is simulator-based, not person-to-person. Okay.
If we were to get, I know we're getting person-to-person. It's definitely the shoot, bang, bang kind of stuff. Just you know, the money is not there. You know, it's definitely probably the richest. You know, as far as money goes, the military is definitely the richest, but. Some of the training that we're not getting, actually all of that encompassed training like you guys are getting with more of the paintball, the sim rounds, the airsoft, and for at least my company, because I do take a lot of pride teaching, I'm going to try and move towards airsoft, and we do get to use the shoot houses.
Your friend can help with that.
Yeah, you know, I got we just got introduced to the JPA. There's a shoot house that we actually go to that a lot of SWAT team uses. Local law enforcement agencies. No, here in Sacramento.
Oh, the McClellan one.
The McClellan one.
Yeah.
And then we do have San Luis Obispo as well. So that's in our pocket. But again, does it come down to dry fire training, and it comes down to shoot, bang, bang, like you're dead. Yeah. Which to me is definitely some training there, but it's not encompassing all of it. It's not getting 100% of it.
Not everything.
It needs to be high paced, high adrenaline. It needs to have the
something
actual physical pain.
Yeah.
It has to have some pain to it, and if it doesn't, you're not learning. So airsoft, I think, is that avenue.
So as far as the products, airsoft products overall, what Garrett, will start this with you. As far as airsoft products, what are you still curious about, or what questions do you have about airsoft products as training tools? Garrett, will start that one with you.
There's a couple. I like to see where the evolution of it's going, as far as they're getting so close to what we're using actually for real-world operators. So just to see exactly what they're going to be putting out, how they're going to make it as realistic as they can.
So you're pretty happy with the products right now. You're just still like waiting to see what's going on with it.
Yeah, for sure. As far as it goes, like where this is excelling for me, as far as the airsoft and where we're teaching, it's when we're teaching advanced drills to law enforcement officers, where we're having them, essentially get said firearm, and if we're talking about close quarter contact, and we're having them grab the weapon as like what's called a G-wrap, where you have to take that shot here. A lot of people aren't really comfortable doing this live fire. So if we can get them to do it in the airsoft first, look at them, observe their safety, see how they're doing it. Worst comes to worst, they're going to, tap themselves with a BB. It's going to hurt, but they're still going to have all their digits. So we can have them go through that technique with the airsoft gun first and make sure they're safe, and we can move them on to live fire where they're going to be that much more successful. So I think as far as it goes, I like where it's going.
You're pretty happy.
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
I am. I don't know what it's definitely. I know we all had to deal with what's the Miles gear back in the days, and
Bro.
oh my god.
Oh
So
God.
yeah, it's definitely not Miles gear anymore. So back then you can kind of cheat a little bit, and then you end up shooting somebody that's in front of you, and somehow you shot your breacher from behind.
Yeah.
So it's
20 yards
it's
away.
definitely beyond that training now. So that's great.
Tom, same question for you. As far as the actual airsoft products themselves, what are still some things you're curious about as a training product?
As far as out of like airsoft aside, like other training products
As
or
far
air.
as using the current products that I've gave, like what is still kind of on your mind or in the back of your mind that if I were to give you, say, a box of KWA guns, and you look at these guns, what are you going to be curious about as far as the capabilities of those products? So this is more about products than implementation, kind
Well,
of.
to me, even like the first idea of airsoft is the quality of it, and that's where it comes down. Like you're gonna have people doing some hard training with these kind of this type of tool. Is it gonna withstand being dropped? Is it gonna withstand getting wet, get dirt on it? And so are they gonna break? That's definitely my overall would be my first stress about it. If I'm gonna put money into it, I don't want something like that to break. But so looking at the quality that you showed me, it feels and looks like a real handgun. They are made of metal or type of
Some kind of
alloy or
metal,
aluminum, some type of metal. But
metalish.
I'm happy with the quality of product, and I'm just excited to see the more advanced version of these tools. Like what's the next step for airsoft now? Like where is it going? I think we're just scratching the surface with the airsoft world.
That's fair.
Yeah, so seeing the quality of the product be more evolved, and that's been my thought process this whole time with it. I want to bring this to my company and train soldiers with it. So I'm going to have to know, like, as far as all of its capabilities, and so far what I've tested has been awesome. So definitely happy with the quality of it.
So if you look at like Simunitions as a product, if you look at their company, kind of their structure, they kind of have an infrastructure to them. Meaning, you can go to what is it, like a 3-day Simunitions in like an instructor course, whatever the hell. But basically, it's an infrastructure that kind of shows you how to implement those products into an ongoing training program or like a TTP. Would you like to see something similar to that in airsoft? Because from what I've seen, it's very common for an agency just to get a box full of guns and to be like here's some stuff. Good luck with figuring out how to throw this into your training programs. So would you like to see maybe not like a full, like, everyone gets together like a conventional class, but maybe it'd be just like maybe a PowerPoint or a video series or something? Would you like to see some sort of instructor aid or some sort of implementation aid to help Tom or Garrett or someone implement those products into those, kind of like a lessons learned system, basically? Tom, what are your thoughts on an infrastructure like that?
Oh yeah, most definitely. You could capitalize on that all day long. But as far as the trainer, I think is what you're looking at. Kind of getting that familiarity with somebody that has that subject matter knowledge is that it would be phenomenal to have that in place. So far, like going into like a SOP or a standard operating procedures, it's like when you talk about the procedure of the weapon and putting it in place with training. You're going to benefit from it, and you're going to be able to take that tool and be like, oh, okay, well, maybe I can use that tool now into something else in my training atmosphere. So having somebody with that knowledge or that type of awareness with it would be amazing. I can't say that the military would fully fund something like that. I have no idea. That'd be awesome if they could. But getting that type of knowledge and that awareness training into the civilian populace and having an instructor go through and teach people how to put it into use on a day-to-day aspect. So like if you're CCW carriers or BSIS and all these people having training aids, because this is a form of training aid,
Right.
Have it actually put in on paper. Yeah, as far as a TCP, tactical techniques and procedures.
Garrett, kind of the same question for you. Would you like to see a company, KWA or whatever company wants to do it, even maybe not a non-affiliated airsoft company, just someone put out some sort of maybe a digital library or basically the equivalent to what we would refer to as a train the trainer series or an instructor course, maybe not face-to-face online, maybe it could be a digital platform, but would you like to see some sort of infrastructure like that with airsoft products, Garrett?
I think that would be great. Honestly, I think that's where they're going with it. If you look at a lot of the stuff they're doing right now, especially with the interactive laser ammo, these guys are getting in touch with guys like us. They're getting in touch, you know, well, with you, yeah, they've touched you up and kind of like said, hey, we want you to be our ambassador. So they're starting to understand that it's just not about the younger generation using this. Yeah, we have a strong emphasis on the younger guys using this product, but we also do have a strong emphasis on law enforcement military application with this product, and it's moving forward with that. So I think they're doing a good job right now blending in, doing what they're doing, and kind of making it all kind of work together with the hiring of guys that actually have been there, done that. We're not just getting guys that are with experience in, oh, I just want to be an airsofter, and not to knock them, but they're getting in touch with the guys that have experience like you and Tom and myself that have been in situations where we actually probably had to put trigger time on something.
So what initially got me into KWA, and I'll pull this up on the site. Years ago, when I was still an agency instructor, KWA Performance, when I was still working for DLA as an active shooter instructor, we started. So what got me really into this was we were using airsoft, but we didn't know what the hell we were doing. We didn't have a clue in the world we didn't know about maintenance. We just bought them, and we bought, the brand we bought were KJW, which is like tier level airsoft guns, especially for what we were trying to use it for. So I just started Googling and procrastinating writing a report, which all that Googling ended up bringing me to, where's the Chrome browser? Boom! It brought me to the KWA website. And what I noticed was KWA, more than any other, G&G didn't do it, Crytek didn't have this, Elite Force didn't have this, they were using it. You guys can't see it, but on the guys watching the stream can. They had a specific section of their website that was tailored specifically to the law enforcement and the training community. They hadn't done a whole lot with it at the time, and actually just looking at it now, they've actually updated a lot of this, but no one else had really streamlined or had really had seen the potential for airsoft as agency training products. KWA jumped on it. I was like, oh, I want to get diggity down on this. So that's what got me basically, at least that's how I got sights on with that company as a whole. So that's why we're doing the whole thing we're doing here. Minimize that. Do you, either of you, Tom, we'll start this off with you. Tom, do you think you will ever get into airsoft recreationally? Go.
Oh, well, as you know, you refer to me as an adult all the time. I'm more adulting.
Yeah. Once you can get some time off.
Time off is definitely a rare thing.
And by time off, I don't mean your TDY.
Yeah, I know, right? No, so I actually love the atmosphere of the airsoft world. It brought me back to when I was younger, out shooting paintball or actually just hanging out with my friends. But it was a really good time. The times I did have at the church with you and all the other kids there and the guys, and I definitely would see it as something that maybe so going to the range and getting trigger timing, because that could get expensive and can be time consuming. I like to see myself out there for sure.
Garrett, do you ever think you will get into playing airsoft recreationally? Woo! Getting that damn coronavirus. So I know, Garrett, where you're at, there is an outdoor field I think it's actually in Fairfield. I think it's called Fairfield Airsoft. I know there's a field out there, and there's, that other field in Antioch that I'm not going to mention for personal reasons. But Garrett, do you think you're ever going to start playing like recreationally, just for the fun of it?
We have a couple out here actually. We have one in Fairfield, one in Vallejo, I believe. American Canyon and Dixon all have them. So it's a very target-rich environment if I wanted to. Now, can I get past that I'm in my 40s and out of shape? I don't know. Was this something that I should do, and it's something that I'm interested in? Yes, for sure. It's just gonna, you know, add to my ability to be an instructor and actually say, hey, you know what, I've done this and I'm keeping up with all the time. It's kind of like being a gym instructor, but you're not picking up weights. You should actually practice what you preach. So I think I should. So, and it is interesting. So we have to go from there.
So taking one of the, back to me. Hi. Taking one of the questions from the Instagram, who is asking this, ShareSofter underscore 45. For gas pistols, would enhancing the blowback aid in the effectiveness of a training situation? Tom, your thoughts? Enhancing the blowback.
Yeah. Enhancing the blowback, so making it stronger.
Correct.
Yeah. Most definitely. And that goes, I think, into the level of training. So as far as somebody that just started, I would definitely start them off with the basic low-level blowback. To get to your most realistic blowback of a gun, you're just going to see better responses from your actual mind. So the way your brain actually encounters the feeling of a blowback. If you get to that point where you're doing these training aids, having the blowback go back that far or that hard on your hand definitely just attunes you to being a better shooter in the real gun world.
Garrett, so, yes, same question for you. Do you think that enhancing the blowback or the recoil of the airsoft guns would enhance their effectiveness as a training tool? Garrett.
I kind of would go back to exactly what Tom is saying. I think that it would be better if we have a said firearm, this airsoft or whatever it is that we're creating this blowback with, and it acts like the gun we're carrying, I think that's great. Do I think the technology's there? I'm not sure. I know these guns are pretty durable, but they're not. I don't know if they're as durable yet. You'd have to be able to answer that question. But I think that if we can make any type of changes to make it similar to how we're doing it in real life, we should go with that one. Good question.
So we'll look at my buddy Captain Momo on Instagram, Cap Momo. Use GBBR LM4 and compare it to an actual AR. I don't think either of you guys have used gas rifles yet, have you? You've just been using gas pistols, Tom? Gas rifle experience or just gas pistol for you so far?
No, just gas pistol so far. My education it definitely needs to be broadened. So getting there.
Garrett, have you used a airsoft gas rifle before?
As recently? Now, no. My wife is not giving me the okay to
work on that together.
Yeah, we will. We just got to figure out some way.
You could write it off on your taxes, I suppose.
We could.
We'll talk that later.
Right. Now, the problem is I did do the cert bolts for the AR-15, so I've done the laser training.
Right. Which
I think it's great. As far as airsoft, that would be more of your avenue.
Right. So KWA is making a new and enhanced gas rifle. They're calling it the LM4 D series. Traditionally, LM4 was like their fundamental gas rifle platform. They're enhancing it. I think it comes out. Oh, honestly, with the Corona thing, I don't know if how that's affected their release dates. I believe it should be out. I want to say early, for sure 2020. I think like late summer, early fall. But so this is going to go into a little the airsoft side of the house. So they gave me that T10 to play with, that AEG rifle that I did a bunch of videos with. Tom, I wasn't able to give that. No, Tom, you did shoot that. No, you didn't. That's right, because I had to ship it back before you. So I did a bunch of stuff with that, but I am foaming at the dick piece for this LM4D rifle right now. I want to do so much video content with it, and I'm going to really try and use that rifle platform and kind of bring that onto the crowd here on the Facebook page for my real shooters, my guard guys, and my guys that are really trying to use it more as a training platform than just like a fun rifle. So Momo, that doesn't really address, but to compare the 1-to-1 off the top of my, it's similar. It's the 1-to-1 ratios, like the manipulations are there. It's about as spot on as you can get with an airsoft gun. The recoil is pretty good, and the sound and stuff's pretty good. On the Eagle Defense, on the Facebook page itself, I actually shoot a KWA LM4. It's a custom, spec'd out a little bit more. It's that white gas rifle that I played with in Lodi.
That looked cool.
Yeah, the Star Wars looking. Yeah, my guys know it. My homies know what they're doing. 98_EK is saying, are there different formations levels? So this is more of a movement training thing. Are there different formations, levels of aggression, etc., for clearing real rooms, airsoft rooms versus real? I can touch on this. Yeah, kinda. It depends on a dude's mindset. So pretty much, a text message. So there are things in airsoft that. What is this? Anyway, there are some things in airsoft that guys wouldn't do in the real world. But yeah, it's just a mindset thing. And that's pretty much it. I'm not seeing Bub Driver. Looks like he wants to know about, if I can get him some sort of airsoft version. M130, M134. Why does that sound so familiar? Oh, the mini. Yeah. I forget. Classic Army, I think, makes a minigun in the Twitch chat. Someone up. Yeah. So there's that. I'm not seeing anything in the Facebook comments. Let me check the Facebook right quick. I'm not seeing anything. Garrett, you want to tackle that one from DJ?
Hold on. Let me go ahead and look down. Okay, I believe my buddy DJ over here I do it all the time, but what was he trying to say? How about laser would that be an approach? I'm not really understanding what he's trying to say here. James, maybe your ability to translate it is better than mine. I know that I always write things too fast or get typoed. I know he's asking about the lasers. How would it be approached to? What do you think he's trying to say?
I have no idea.
Sorry, DJ,
how to get them, maybe?
Please answer. Please ask again if you're still watching, DJ. You just typed a little too fast. I do it all the time. What do we got?
Hey, James. Hey, Garrett. I'm gonna actually have to pop smoke here right now. So
yeah, go for it, buddy. You go back to being an adult.
I gotta go be an adult as normal. So probably gonna be a normal thing on this. But hey, guys, it's been great. I really love it, and hope everybody listening will come back next time. So,
see you, Tom. I'll see you around.
Later.
Garrett, we'll put this back on you. DJ, what are you asking, you silly man?
Well, we got back to Clint. Clint actually is a PPO operator at Sacramento that we're using his classrooms for.
Oh, Clinton. Okay.
Clinton's a good guy. James Clint. He was asking about the RMR. Oh, you silly bear! That has nothing to do with airsoft, but the RMR is great as far as what you're doing especially when you're getting older like me, where you don't have to focus on 3 sight planes as far as the target, the front sight, the rear sight, making everything blurry. You're just focusing on that dot and the target, so it does make it easier. If you've been shooting for years like all of us have, it's going to be a change. You're going to be instinctually going for that 3 dot for a while, so you're not going to be as fast. So hopefully that answers your question there.
And I am not seeing anything. Check all of my freaking platforms I'm on right now. That looks like it can be that. I've got nothing else. Garrett, you want to end this on anything? You have any final thoughts on anything?
No. Hopefully this answers a couple questions for the guys. Edwin Rivera said, Garrett's using Airsoft. Wow.
Right?
Yeah, Edwin, I've used that before. We talked about this when I was talking about Airsoft with you, and you just didn't have the thought process and to give me that push more, so I'm going to make fun of you. But yeah, it's definitely been a tool, cost-effective wise, to reach out to my students.
That Jesus Christ, how long have we been yakking like idiots?
Oh my
We
God.
are at 2 hours.
Yeah, 2
Woo!
hours. It might be
Busy
2
day.
hours.
That is a busy day. All right, we are going to end it on that. Where's my... No, I got to go to my third screen right now. All right. Okay. Did this successfully. All right, we are going to end the stream soon. Garrett, where can they find you if they want to ask you questions? How can people get a hold of you?
Eagle Defense website. Go to the Eagle Defense website where me and James are both located, and feel free to ask your questions there, or look at GNL security training, and that's always a thing. And that's pretty much it.
If anyone wants to hit me up on Instagram, it is ASM_Caber, the easiest way to get a hold of me. This will be archived to Twitch, which is twitch.tv/Caberup, CABERUP. I believe this will archive also to the Eagle Defense Facebook, so that's going to be facebook.com/EagleDef. And I'm also going to try to download this and re-upload it back to my Caberup. What is that platform? Fuck. The YouTube, that thing. Bro.
James, is it, or is it still the Eagle Defense one?
No, so I haven't done a whole lot with the Eagle Defense YouTube in a few years. The only reason it got any traction was because I was posting the remember those scenario videos I would always post up, like the one from the dude in Richmond and all that. So dude, those blew the hell up. There's like 6-figure views on some of that. Yo, let's actually, since we don't really give a shit anymore. Nope, not that.
Tactitrol, that was a big one.
Yeah. I tried to play with the Tactitrol thing too, just for some fun. Let's go to YouTube, find Eagle Defense. Nope. Well, I spelled defense horribly wrong. And security. Training is not spelled with 3 I's.
No, it's not.
So here's a look at... Let's put this on the screen. Browser. So here's a look at, if you're watching the stream, it'll be a delay. Bro, look at how rudimentary all this is. 235 subscribers, but we go to the videos. That's not bad. Where's the scenario? Wow, 1.6 thousand for that TNT holster, for the holster review. That's pretty good.
Nice.
Scrolling down more. Wow. Okay, so apparently I need to start doing more of this again. I'll look at the analytics. My rants on the road is at 899 views. That's pretty good.
You're the ranter out of the group.
Yeah, for sure. Where is that guy at? Maybe it didn't get here. I thought it did. Oh, I wonder if maybe it got pulled.
Yeah,
it might have got... Oh, there's the Houston guard. That is at 2.9. The Houston one, I don't even remember where I found that one, honestly. Gun safety. That guy that gets stabbed isn't that big. Where is that video that I had? Maybe it's a... I wonder if that video got pulled. That I was using for training clips. Oh, different kind of training clips. Yeah, maybe they got pulled. Maybe it got... Oh, let's see here.
Yeah, YouTube's been a little funny lately, especially with anything that's two-way related.
Yep, it got deleted. That's why.
And when you're
How about that? So this, I bet the deleted video was the one that, oh, jeepers. The guy in Richmond. Remember that one at the apartment complex? That was the Indian fellow that kept following the guy, and the suspect kept getting closer and closer to him, and it was like the worst thing ever.
Horrible. I don't know what training they decided to go to on that one.
Bro, not his fault. He just wasn't trained to that standard.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah, so that's all of that. Boop, Chrome browser out. And that's that.
You offline?
We're about to be. I don't see any more questions.
No, I think we're good. Yeah, I mean, as far as it goes, I mean, I think you got the Eagle Defense site looked up. You can look me up there. You can look me up at Spartan 418 on Instagram. And as far as it goes, if you need anything gun related, besides going to me and James for a training, if you're needing something as far as custom work, definitely look at Laser Blade Engraving. Talk to Justin, tell him I sent you Garrett from Eagle Defense or James, and he will take care of all your needs for that.
And that's it. And we are going to say goodbye. I will end the stream in 5, 4,